This is Shelley Crabb coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the Marcum MicroCap Conference 2015 in New York City. I have with me Dr. Daniel Teper of Immune Pharmaceuticals, Inc. It's a publicly traded company and the symbol is IMNP. It's on NASDAQ. Welcome back to SNNLive.
Shelley, it's a pleasure to be back.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So let's get started with a brief overview of the company for our audience.
So Immune Pharmaceutical, as our name exemplifies, is all about immunology and targeted therapy for autoimmune diseases and cancer. We were started 4 years ago in Israel, and we're now listed on NASDAQ and headquarters in New York City at the Alexandria Center for Life Science. In fact, last Tuesday, we celebrated those two events by ringing the bell at NASDAQ.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. You've come a long way in 4 years, I have to tell you.
Well, it's a lot of challenges, but we now have the right platform to grow. We are NASDAQ, so it's an opportunity to further raise capital as needed. We have enough capital to execute our business plan, and particularly the 2 clinical studies that are now ready to be started with our lead drug, bertoluimab, in ulcerative colitis, and bullous pemphigoid, which is an orphan disease of the skin.
Okay, so let's get into the science, because that's what people really want to know. Let's talk about it. Please go ahead.
So our science are monoclonal antibodies. It's drugs like Herceptin and Humira and Remicade. The big difference and the big innovation is that we have, it's the personalized precision medicine approach. We have a companion diagnostic that allows to select the right drug for the right patients. And that's very novel. It's in cancer, it's known. In autoimmune diseases such as Crohn's and colitis, this is very novel because drugs like Humira and Remicade that have changed the treatment of those diseases still only help half of the patients. So you want to be able to select the right drug, which you can do because in our clinical trials, we use the biomarker to select the patients most likely to respond to the drug.
It's a big market. I want you to tell me the size of the market.
So the Crohn's and colitis market is expected to grow to over $10 billion, and that's just for the biologics drugs. Why biologics drugs growing? Because they don't just take care of the symptoms, they modify the course of the disease. So the first generation were Humira, which is $12 billion, and Remicade, about $10 billion. New drug from Teper just hit the market, this year, and we're coming in a few years, but a lot of hope of changing the course for those patients.
It's really awful what some of these patients have to go through. Unless you know someone who has it, you don't even know how bad it is. You don't even know how common it is.
It is very common, but we also target diseases that are rare. So bullous pemphigoid is a disease that very few people know, yet it's 30,000 patients in the US. It's about the same as cystic fibrosis, and it's growing because it's a disease of older patients, and we want to tackle those diseases well. One thing that it's important for investors and physicians to know is that the new biologic drug targets molecules called cytokines, and those cytokines are relevant to multiple diseases in multiple organs. So the potential of bertoluimab is not just in ulcerative colitis and in bullous pemphigoid, but in many other diseases, including, we've announced recently that we would develop bertoluimab for liver disease, including NASH.
So if you have to look ahead, clinical trials, let's talk a little bit about what phase you're in the different drugs. Talk to me. Let's hear it.
So, we're in phase 2 in 2 indications. We intend in 2016 to expand the program to additional indications. I want also to mention that, we became public through a reverse acquisition. And through that reverse acquisition, we have a great drug for neuropathic pain, which is outside of our core focus. This drug is called Amicat. It's a topical drug, and it's been shown to be equally effective to the leading oral drug. So it's quite promising. It's a multi-billion-dollar market. We're in advanced negotiations for partnering. And this is right into phase 3 clinical trials.
So 2016 has some upside to you.
Well, I would say 2015, we're only $50 million market cap. We're on NASDAQ. We have multiple programs. We have probably one of the next biologic blockbuster for the industry. We have a phase 3 drug for neuropathic pain, and patients with neuropathic pain know that no leading drug works for all of them. Actually, less than half of the patients respond to a drug. So again, this is something that we will partner. This will bring cash to the company and support further development of the company. So I would say starting now and through 2016 and beyond, there's a great future for immune pharmaceuticals, and clearly also there's a better future for patients that have all those terrible diseases.
That's what's really important. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get the website, please.
It's www.immunepharmaceuticals.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Daniel Teper, Immune Pharmaceuticals, Inc. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbol is IMNP. It's on NASDAQ. I'm Shelley Crabb. This is SNNLive. We're at the Marcum MicroCap Conference 2015 right here in New York City.